Joining us now to discuss, America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. Dan, thanks for being back with us. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Of course. So we know there are a lot of factors stacking up against the U.S. economy: rising interest rates, tight lending standards, and political uncertainty in D.C. What do you think of Jerome Powell's forecast of being able to skirt a recession, and what economic indicators support his view?
I think it's going to be really, really tough for Jerome Powell to do what he's saying. Look, everybody would love to see a soft landing here, right? So you're able to get inflation under control without causing the economy to go into a recession. Here is the challenge. We have been raising interest rates all year long, or for almost the past year, and we are not seeing inflation being tamed at this point. So he's going to have to continue to raise interest rates. We got a pretty strong job number, which means that the jobs market remains hot, which means that you're still going to see inflation at elevated levels, as you alluded to before. You go in the grocery store and purchasing any of the necessities that you need, well, it's costing more. So I think we have a way to go before inflation is under control, which means more economic pain for everyone.
Yeah, I sadly think you are right about that. Now, meanwhile, the IMF recently warned of growing debt vulnerabilities, particularly corporate debt and leveraged loans. They also point out that the rising interest rates and stricter Fed policies could ultimately cause mass defaults. What do you make of this assessment, and can we battle these weak points?
Yeah, this is really a tough situation that we have here, because in order for the economy to continue to move along at a good pace, businesses and people need to be able to borrow money. Specifically businesses, right? You need to be able to have access to capital in order to grow and meet demand. Now, based upon what's happened in the banking system in the last few months, I think that we're going to see more regulations that's going to make it tougher to be able to borrow money. And that's one of the things that can really slow down the economy. Now, the other side of this is that Americans are building up more credit card debt than they ever have before. We're at record levels. On top of that, interest rates on credit cards are also at record levels. So I don't know what people are thinking exactly in terms of how much debt they think they can accumulate. It's not like the federal government where we can just continue to print money and go along our happy way here. People have to realize that their debts are going to come due, and the deeper that they go into debt, the more trouble that they're going to have somewhere down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And touching on the debt crisis, Janet Yellen says we have to raise the limit. And I understand why, but I also want some accountability here. Why is the government allowed to go over budget no matter what that means for the average American? And how do you ultimately see this playing out?
The way I see it playing out is that the debt limit will be raised because there's no other choice here. We can't have a situation where the U.S. defaults on its borrowings and what it needs to pay bills. So that's completely out of the question, and everybody knows it. But here's how the game ends up being played. We have both sides going back and forth saying, I want this, I want that, and everybody is trying to look like the responsible party. And now let me tell you how this is going to end. It'll be right down to the last minute. They'll increase the spending limit. Both sides will end up spending even more, and then both sides will try to spin it as to how they did this great thing for the country and try to take a victory lap. Both sides of the aisle, and I want to be clear, both sides of the aisle have been completely reckless with spending. And quite frankly, at some point in time, that bill or those bills are going to become due. And when they are, we're going to feel a lot of hurt.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.